Okay, Leah Angelina.
Okay. Diane. There you go. Christine Diane. What are we talking about today?
So, someone reached out to us and said that she was wanting to trip sit for her sister and vice versa.
Okay.
Because, and this is not something that we typically recommend, but I feel like it's a question or it's a topic that gets brought up a lot.
Yeah.
Where people don't, let's say they can't afford to go to a retreat. They don't feel comfortable with, someone they don't know facilitating for them or trip sitting for them. And they don't have anybody that has done heroic doses and knows the medicine to sit for them.
Another obstacle I think that I have come across is some people can't afford
Yes.
to have someone sit with them.
It's expensive. It's really expensive. Going to a retreat is expensive, whether you do it in the U.S., out of the country, you're
doing it with a
do
psychedelic therapist.
Yeah, you do it with a psychedelic therapist. You're doing a
underground
solar
guide.
Yeah, it's all expensive.
Yeah.
And so I understand that. So I wanted to talk about that today. If none of those things work for you, going to the retreat, doing psychedelic therapy, whatever the reason, and this is the way that you're going to go, we want you to do it safe. With the right person. And so we want to dive into that today.
So the question is, should I journey with a guide or trip sitter, or should I do it solo? I feel like that's like the encompassing question. Or I guess in some of our listeners' cases, like, could my boyfriend sit for me? Yeah. Could my roommate sit for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to get into it, I think the first thing that we need to do is talk about the difference between somebody being a trip sitter and someone being a guide.
Okay.
So I think being a trip sitter is a little less involved. So you know how there's like levels to a wedding planner?
Mm-hmm.
And there is like the person who she works with you for months and does all the details and comes to you with decisions, like final decisions. And then she's there the whole day, or I'm saying she, could be a he. Like they're there the entire day of the wedding and you don't have to do much work. And then there's the package, the lower end of the package where it's like, I'm just going to be there the day of.
Right.
To me, that's the difference between like someone who is a guide and someone who is going to be a trip sitter for you. And I also, there's a lot of negative, I feel icky sometimes using the word guide because
we're not guiding.
Nobody should be guiding you into some type of experience. They're really just there and you are the person who is guiding yourself. But it's important to have someone who knows what that looks like. And so there is a little bit of a difference in that. And the word guide, we're just using that in this episode because it's that more in-depth person who is helping you prepare, helping you integrate, helping you like a month before your journey and a month after your journey.
They know the medicine.
They know the medicine. They've journeyed with it themselves. They're doing their own work. That's to me like the difference between a guide and a trip sitter. A trip sitter is like someone who's like maybe done psychedelics for fun a few times here and there and they have a little bit of experience but not much. What are your thoughts on that?
So like Jason has trip set for you. Tony has trip set for me.
Yes.
They don't necessarily, Tony's done one journey.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily know the medicine that well and has been around it that often or much, but he is somebody who I feel safe with. He is somebody who I trust. He is somebody who like makes me feel calm in that type of an environment. And so he has sat for me before.
You know, it's interesting. I just had this thought as you were saying that, like, my first journey, I was not with my husband. Like, I didn't feel safe with him, period. I was with a guide in the woods.
Yeah.
The second journey, I was on this couch, actually, in the basement by myself. It was in the middle of the day. He was working, and I was like, I don't need you, but I'll be in the basement, and I'll just let you know if I need you. You don't need to do anything. And then towards the end of the trip, like, I needed him because I couldn't function as a human. I don't know if you've ever experienced it before. It's hard to explain, but like, doing daily tasks seems impossible.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say in a podcast, it's like turning into a baby all over again.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I want water, but oh my God, how do I do that? Like, I know I need water, but like, I'm going to have to go up the stairs, and I'm going to have to get a glass, and I'm going to have to get the water, and I just want to drink it.
Right.
I just want somebody else to do that for me. It's like reverting back to a toddler.
Yeah.
Where you're being taken care of. And then the third journey I did, he actually did sit with me the whole time. But I also think that's a testimony of the evolution of our relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, where it took years of healing and evolving and growing for me to feel emotionally safe with him. And I actually have a video of him sitting with me in my last journey, and I kind of want to share it eventually.
You should.
Just a clip.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. It's so, I like cry and tear up every time I see it, because I'm like, he was the best supporter in what I needed in that time.
Yeah.
So, we just released an episode about like the LSD and how we had like a trip sitter there who was just there in case something went wrong.
Right.
Who was going to be the sober person if somebody fell down and broke their leg, or we needed a ride out of the woods, or, you know.
Whatever.
Yeah, just someone there to keep you safe. There's also a difference between like a nanny and a babysitter for a night, you know?
Yeah.
So there's levels to this.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent, but you were talking about how like Tony sat with you in your last one, but he didn't guide you.
No. And honestly, when I was under the medicine, he would come just to like see if I was okay. And I would literally tell him back, like, I know, like, I'm sitting here. That was the one where
you're sweating out every
I like sweat out every trauma of my ancestors. And what
you were having a rough time.
I was having a rough time, and I still told them I was fine.
Interesting.
Because I knew that I could get myself through it. Not saying that, like,
I don't need you.
I don't need you. It was just, I knew I had to experience it, and I had to experience it alone because it was my ancestors. Nothing personal.
There's nothing he could have done.
Right. But I knew, like, I just had to sit with it. And that was when my hair was like super red, and I was sitting outside, and I was like,
oh, and it was fresh red.
It was fresh red. And I didn't put my hair up. So dumb. So dumb. I did not put my hair up, and I was literally laying on my side in a fetal position. I've never sweat like that in my life. I have a sauna, and I don't sweat like that. And sweat beads were literally coming out of every pore, and my hair's in my face. And when I get done, I lay in a cold bath for like 2 hours, and I hate fucking cold. So that just shows how challenging it was. But I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I looked like Carrie.
Oh, shit.
Because the red dye like bled on my face because I was sweating that much.
Oh my God.
It was
like just
I should have taken a picture, but I'm like, I'm scared.
You should have taken a picture.
I'm scared. I'm terrified of myself. It looked like somebody had poured pig's blood over me.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It was insane.
I really am mad you didn't take a picture.
Honestly, I am too. But it was really hard for me to function for like a while.
And that's the thing. Like, you revert back to that, like, toddler-like state where you want to be taken care of a little bit.
Yeah.
And you need someone there.
Yeah. But in that, it was like, it took everything out of me. And I know this sounds weird and it was crazy, but it was a necessary release. Because I felt like I was healing a lot of just generational trauma that I was carrying. And it's like, for that moment, I needed to be alone to just sit with it and decompress from it. And so having a trip sitter who can sit with you if you need it, also having a trip sitter who is not going to take it personal and respects if you want to be alone. Yeah. And you need that too. Yeah. Is important.
So I think one of the first questions, whether you are trying to decide whether you want a trip sitter or going solo, is like, or a guide, is what is your intention when you're taking the medicine? Are you just trying to have like a good, fun time with some friends? Maybe someone there sober, maybe. Sometimes you don't even need that, and it depends on the dose, like, honestly. But like, if you are going to go in to do a heroic journey or to do some deep introspective healing work, that's when I think like you need somebody with you. Yeah. And there's a lot of opinions about this. A lot of people think, no, you do it solo. You do it solo. This is why I disagree with this. We are not meant to be a solo society. We are meant to be in community. We are meant to be in connection with people. And I think there is something to be said for healing the divine feminine in you to be taken care of for a little bit. Yeah. And to feel like you're not a burden. And I think one of the hardest things for a lot of women these days is feeling like they don't need to be taken care of. And I think that there comes healing when you realize like it's okay to be taken care of. And it's also okay to ask for help, because one of the things, like, we'll get into this, but like when you have a trip sitter or somebody there with you, like, you can ask them for something. Yeah. Can you get me water? Yeah. Yeah. Can you get me something to eat?
Right. And even if
that's hard when you're used to like not practicing that muscle of asking for help.
Right. And even like for me with that last journey, yes, I wanted to be alone, but I also knew he was there. Yes. So like, it wasn't that I was alone. I wanted some space for myself to process what had happened, but he was in the other room and was there, on hand if I needed him at any moment.
You know what I think? I think a guide is important if it's your first time. Mm-hmm. Because like I said before, they're that person who's going to be with you and help you prepare for like a month before. They're going to help you really, like, they know and understand the medicine so well that they're going to help you fully prepare for your experience. Mm-hmm. They're going to help you with the diet. They're going to help you with the protocols. They're going to help you every step of the way. And then the day of, they're there with you. And then after that, they're helping you process and integrate and helping you find guidance if they can't help guide you in some type of way with the integration. And then once you have that understanding of what the process looks like, and it's kind of what we did. Yeah. I don't need a guide anymore. Yeah. I do need someone to sit with me though.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. Because we have heard a lot of stories of people who do it and then 2 months later they'll do it again, and 2 months later they'll do it again, where it's like, it's really important to sit with the medicine for a little while to help with integration. And I think that's where a guide comes in to explain that. Yeah. Whereas you've been on this journey before, so you already know that that's the integration piece is such an integral
Yeah.
Okay, that sounded weird when I said
A
it.
little bit did, but I know what you were
It,
saying.
okay. I was like,
An
it didn't
integral part.
Yeah, it didn't sound right. Integral part of the process.
Yeah.
So you just have to, again, if you're gonna do a trip sitter, you don't have the means to a guide or access to a guide. Understand that that's such a vital piece to it.
It's not the piece that only goes with your first trip.
Right. It's
You
with
should be
every
taking that
journey.
with every journey
Yeah.
here on out.
100%.
And I think that that's why you and I afterwards were like, we don't need a guide.
Right.
But because we know what this process looks like,
Right.
we don't need someone to tell us how to surrender to the medicine because we've experienced it and we know what that looks like. We don't need someone to hold our hands.
Right. And we know
The first time we did.
Right. And we know that integration is not like, okay, I do A, B, C, D, E.
Yes.
Integration can be different for each journey, depending on what you need. But it's being able to sit with yourself to kind of dissect all pieces of your life. Like, all right, how am I showing up in my marriage? How am I showing up as a parent? How's work? Like, how are the people I surround myself with? Like, what needs to change? You know, is it like I'm going to start somatic therapy soon? Like, that's something I've never done before and realized that I really, really needed it. Integration looks very different every single time. And I think it's like, I just can't stress that enough. Like, being able to sit with yourself and really take that introspective look to see what it is that you need to integrate.
I just had this thought.
Because it never ends.
It really never ends. Like, a lot of the integration process is like the next 6 months after your journey. Like,
and I say the rest of your life.
Up. True.
Integration is your entire, like, it is literally your life.
I just had this thought because you know how we've done an episode on microdosing, and with microdosing, it's like you don't feel the effects, but then we tell people, like, at the end of the day, maybe look back at your day and see where or how you showed up a little bit different, or where you were triggered, but instead of reacting, you responded and you sat with it. Mm-hmm. Like, that means it's working.
Right.
And so with a microdose, it's something that you're taking like every other day, every 2 or 3 days. And that's the part of the process. With a large journey, I would almost say, because it's a larger journey and it's a larger scale, at the end of the month, look at the past month since your journey and say, what's been different this month? How have I showed up differently? You know what does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm trying to like relate it back to the microdosing, and at the end of the day with the medicine, it's like at the end of every month, because your second month might not be so easy. Your third month might get a little bit harder. And we tell people this all the time, but like, you might stay in that mushroom glow or that mushroom cloud for a little bit and things might be awesome and great. And we actually just did an episode with Allie where she had that experience, and then
she went through the trenches.
Happened. Yeah. 6 months after her journey.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh shit, now I have to put in the real work.
Yep.
Now it's not so rainbows and butterflies and it's not so peaceful, and you know, this is where the work starts. So I think when you're doing a journey too often, you don't allow yourself that time to really integrate fully the experience and let it sit out for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
That's what I was going to say. So my thing was going to be like the difference between a trip sitter and a guide. I'm just going to hand you my phone. I think that one of the important things is that no matter who you're with, if your intention is to do deep work, you need to be someone who is also doing that and who has an understanding of what doing the work means.
Yes.
It can't just be your bestie.
Right.
It really can't.
And it may not be your husband. It may not be your wife. So it's like you have to use, if you're going to do a trip sitter, again, we want you to do it safely as possible. It may not be the person closest to you, which I kind of want to get into.
Yeah.
What, and when we say like a heroic journey and you need a trip sitter, I would say like 3 grams up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I'm going to let you just kind of go down the list, and I'll like speak or add, or we can like elaborate on some of them. So when choosing someone to sit with you, these are probably the things that you want to look for in someone.
Yeah. Okay. So this isn't always going to be the case, but would be nice if you had somebody who was knowledgeable about the medicine, understood the dose, its effects, all of that. And I'll get into more later on as to why.
Yeah. Okay.
Because when you do a journey, you don't know what's going to come up.
Yeah.
And they don't either. There's no way to predict that. It's not a black and white thing. I
should also say there are a lot of tools out there for people. One of the things I did before I sat with someone for the first time was there's a book, The Psychedelic Explorer's Guide.
Yes.
That kind of teaches you about each medicine. So I went to the chapter on psilocybin and I read every part of that, let it soak in.
We'll link it.
And good idea. And it's not like necessarily like and now you know how to guide people, but I wanted a better understanding of it. Even though I had already sat with the medicine, I wanted to be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
So that's important in finding someone. I have talked with people before who has had their husband sit with them and their husband has never done the medicine. I've talked with their husband.
Yeah.
And said, this is what may or may not come up, and this is what you should or shouldn't do, and this is what it means to be in support of someone on a journey. And you really don't interfere. So it can be someone, as long as that person is willing to really dive in and understand what it means to be in support of you.
Yeah.
With this medicine.
Yeah.
And be knowledgeable in the best way that they can be.
Yeah. Okay. So some characteristics to look out for. And again, I want to stress that you may not have someone who is every single one of these.
True.
It may be a hard thing to find. So again, using your best judgment. Let's say, who's the most of these in your life?
Who checks the most boxes?
Okay. So you want somebody who is non-judgmental, and they're able to be curious and inquisitive. So I guess an example I would use is there are a lot of people who I've told that I did a heroic journey. And it has nothing to do with them, and they don't even want to hear about it. Like, they can't hear about it because it's against everything that we got taught. So it's like they can't even like digest what I'm telling them. They don't want to.
Don't tell me things I don't want to know.
Probably not the right person.
Definitely not the right person. What about, can I add to that?
Absolutely. Add whatever I say, add to it.
Okay, let's say like you feel, I'm just going to throw this out there. You're close with your sister, but your sister is just like, I just don't believe in I just don't believe in this kind of stuff. It goes against everything I believe, but like, okay, fine, I'll sit with you. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because that energy is going to show up.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in your head that day energetically thinking like, I shouldn't be doing this. Mm-hmm. So no.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be about psilocybin.
Yeah.
Somebody who is judgmental about a lot of other things, just in life in general. Like, you want that safety in this space. So somebody who is curious and who is going to be like, oh, that's interesting, I want to learn more. Or, oh, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good quality in this scenario.
Give them some homework.
Absolutely.
Give them some homework. Be like, this is what I read. This is what I've watched. This is what the process is. You should watch and do the same things. Yeah. And I'm going to take that even back to like what I said in a previous episode about the what to expect when you're expecting, just wanting my partner to know what I was going through.
Yeah.
That to me is like a big green flag.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing this with someone and they want to know more about it in the way that you
100%
do.
100%. Yep. Someone who is easygoing. So, do you know those people who they are the control freaks? They have to have a say. They have to take over. Also not the right person. You want somebody who, again, because what I said earlier, you don't know what's going to show up for you. You don't know the emotions you're going to feel during. They don't know what's going to show up for you. There is a lot of unpredictability with this.
Yes.
You could have the best journey of your life and everything's rainbow and butterflies, or it could be like my journey where it's like hundreds and hundreds of years of ancestral trauma. I don't know.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not sure. You don't know. And so somebody who is able to kind of roll with what's going on, and they're not going to try to control the situation or control you in the situation.
Can I give such a small example of that?
Yeah.
Such a small example would be of someone not to have with you is someone who's like, it's okay, don't cry. Don't cry.
Which I feel like that's a level of control.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're uncomfortable with you crying and they're like, it's okay, you're on mushrooms, but don't cry.
Yeah.
No, you want someone who's going to be like, it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to do, let it out. Yeah. I'm here to witness and watch, and not watch like creepy,
you're safe.
Not in a creepy way, but like, I'm here to witness your healing. And if you need to jump around and scream, do that. Yeah. I'm not going to judge you for feeling that way. Like I've sat with people who like shake uncontrollably and they're apologizing for it. And I'm like, you're having a very somatic experience. Mm-hmm. Like your emotions are leaving your body in a somatic way. Like don't apologize for that.
Yeah.
It's not weird.
Absolutely.
At all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So basically be with someone who's okay with like seeing some weird shit.
Yeah. And they're
is not going to be weird about seeing some weird shit.
Right. Now we kind of were talking about it with Jason, how in the third journey that you did, he sat with you the whole time and he was very attentive.
So attentive.
So you want somebody who is going to like care for you if you need it.
You basically need a mother.
Yes.
Can I explain further on how he was attentive?
Sure.
At this point I had journeyed solo-ish. When I say solo, I always had somebody with me, but like at this point I had journeyed solo-ish and I probably wouldn't have asked for help, but he noticed I was struggling and he straight up was like, do you need any help? And just hearing that broke me down. I was like, yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
And he came over and he sat next to me. But like having someone who is aware enough and attentive enough to see that you're struggling, who can ask what you need, because you may not be able to articulate what you need. Mm-hmm. You may not even know that that's an option because you're still in this other world.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, I think I do need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Can you just come sit next to me? Or can you hold my hand? Or can you turn the lights on? Or can you change the music? So someone who can notice that you're a little bit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to add to that.
Go for it.
This is so small, but it's not. Someone who would be willing to help you go to the bathroom.
100%.
Like, who do you feel comfortable and who do you have trust and faith knowing they will help you go to the bathroom? Because you
would not have even thought of that, and that is so true.
Need help going to the bathroom. Well, not saying that they're going to have to wipe your ass, but you just need, you might. But it might.
You might.
And you might just need help walking to the bathroom.
I think a good thing to ask is, they might not ever need to wipe your ass, but would you feel comfortable if they did?
Wait. So would you wipe my ass if I needed it?
I probably would in that setting.
Yeah.
I really probably would.
I would too, but I would probably like...
Also, something I don't think a lot of people know is that like psilocybin is also a diuretic. So it can make you want to shit or puke. And okay, puking, that's another thing. Like you might throw up. Have someone with you who's not going to be grossed out by you puking and who's going to clean it up and be like, oh my gosh, don't worry about it. It happens.
Yeah.
Because that could happen. You might pee your pants. Yeah. You might not, but if someone sees you struggling and they're like, are you okay? Do you need anything? You're going to be like, I think I need to pee.
Yeah.
And they can hold your hand to the bathroom.
Which, side note, the diuretic, that is why we fast the day of. Yeah. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. What goes in must come out.
I mean, not always. It's not ayahuasca.
True.
I will just say I have not
I just tell people,
or shat
I recommend
medicine
fasting
of psilocybin.
True. But I always recommend fasting because it's like you will get nauseous, and if you have stuff sitting in your stomach,
it's going to come up.
It's probably going to come up. So if you want to eat, make sure you're okay with it coming back up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Because it's probably going to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Keep going. Sorry.
Okay. So we talked about how, again, you can have this beautiful, everything's beautiful type journey, but also you can have something that's really, really hard or challenging. You want someone who is calm in that sense, and somebody who is not just going to react and is not just going to be impulsive to go do something. They're able to kind of take a breath. They're able to maybe handle a little bit of pressure. They handle pressure a little well. And we have said we don't handle pressure well, but not in this situation. No. Because we know, and we're more comfortable, we know that this is kind of how the process is supposed to go. But somebody who is, if you're having a hard time, they're like, okay, I'm going to take you to the hospital, or I'm going to call the cops, or I'm going to, you know what I mean? They're going to freak out.
And you're going to feel that.
You don't want that. Yeah. You want somebody who is a little calm, level-headed. They're not just going to react. They're going to think and sit with it for a second.
Well, let me give a little bit of an example of that. Like, so sometimes people can get caught in loops, and that is a natural thing. It can happen. Have you ever been caught in one? I feel like we've talked about this. Maybe not.
No, I have not.
Okay. They're terrifying because you, before you go into an experience, know that you're going to be in and out within, 6 to 8 hours. And if you get caught in a loop, that feels like an eternity. It feels like you're never going to get out of it. It feels like this is the way that you're going to be for the rest of your life, and I shouldn't have done it. I'm the one that they were warning me about. It fucked with my now I'm in psychosis permanently. Like, it'll fuck with you if you get stuck in a loop, and being with someone who knows that that's a possibility can kind of hold your hand through that and say, you're not like this. It's not going to stay like this forever. You're on mushrooms right now. You're going to come out of it. It's going to take a little bit, but you're going to be fine. Instead of someone who's going to freak out and be like, oh my God, yeah, what if you're in psychosis? Oh shit. I don't know what to do with this.
Oh
Fuck.
My God, I would
We
panic.
fucked up.
Right.
Right. You would fuck up. You would be so fucked up if someone was telling you that was supposed to be like sitting with you.
Yeah.
That would really fuck with your head.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Okay, here's another one.
Okay.
So, you, for example.
Okay.
You are someone that I can talk to about deep, dark things. I've been talking to you about mother wounds, father wounds, past trauma, all this heavy stuff that is oftentimes hard for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Especially when talking to the wrong person.
Sometimes even our closest friends, that's hard to
Oh, God. Yeah.
do.
100%. But on the other hand, and I think people can see from listening to us on the podcast or seeing our content, I also have a lot of fun with you. We can joke, we can laugh, we can be silly. I think both are essential. You want someone who can do both, because I've had 2 journeys now where ancestral stuff came up. First one, I came out, I was smiling, I was grinning from ear to ear.
Best
I was
photo
like,
ever.
I was like, that was amazing, and we were like laughing about it, and like it was happy, and all was good. Well, you weren't there for the other one, but that one was really challenging, and it was hard, and it was dark. And I was able to talk to you about both, and I felt safe doing so. And I think finding someone who can hold space for all of it is wonderful.
That's a really good point. I'm going to rewind it a little bit about like the being calm or something. We've said this before, but I think a big part of being a guide or a trip sitter is lending someone your calm nervous system. That's a huge piece of being able to sit with someone and remaining calm in their chaos. Is, can you remain a calm nervous system so when they're freaking out, they can feed off of your calm energy? Because if you freak out, they're going to freak out even more.
Yeah. I
Okay.
love that. Okay. The person that you're thinking of sitting with you, how do they handle their own life? Do they suppress their emotions? Do they not take accountability? Do they project onto other people? Are they kind of like what you said? Are they doing the work? I don't want someone to sit for me who doesn't do the work, doesn't take accountability for their actions, doesn't do any type of introspective work, projects their wounds, suppresses their emotion. Anger's not a valid feeling to feel. Like, I don't want that. So it's like the person who you want to sit with you, how do they live their life?
Yeah.
Is it a life where like they're on their own healing journey? Or is it a life where they avoid all of those things because those things are hard?
I think I really like that you're saying this, because sometimes I think people are like, well, what does it matter if they're just sitting with me for a few hours?
Energy, baby.
That matters so much.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So much.
Because, again, let's say something comes up and you're not like in the depths of it, but you come out of it, you're still a little loopy, and you want to talk about it. How are they going to show up for you in that moment? What advice are they going to give you?
Right.
If they're not doing the work themselves. I'd be like, your advice sucks.
Right.
Like, hell no. Yeah, no. So it's like, think about that person and how they are living their life.
That's a big one.
That's a huge one. Okay. Another thing. You come out of it. You may want to talk for hours. You may not shut the hell up about what just happened.
I feel like that happens a lot.
Totally. And yes, you want someone to talk. But I've done journeys, I've done journeys where I've sat with people and they come out of it and I have no idea what happened. I have no idea what they experienced. I have no idea any details of it.
Yeah.
That is also okay, because it's not my journey, it's theirs. So is that person okay with like you holding on to it for a little bit and you keeping it to yourself? Like, are they comfortable if like you're like, I don't feel like talking about it, or you just don't say anything at all?
That is something I will tell someone's spouse.
Yeah.
When they are like coming home from a journey. Like, don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
They will share when they're ready to share. Don't get upset if they can't explain it.
Yeah.
Because their mind and their body are playing a little bit of catch up right now. And you putting pressure on them to share their experience is only going to make it harder for them to share.
Yeah.
So yeah, that goes with the trip sitter too. Like a lot of times people come out of it and I don't know what they experienced, but we're still talking for hours.
Yeah. My last journey, I didn't tell Tony any details for a long time. We sat in silence and he was okay with that.
I love that.
Because talking was not what I needed at the moment. But to me, he held space for me to be able to just sit in silence and still be okay. And then when I was ready, then I started to talk about it more.
Yeah.
So somebody who is okay with that.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Okay.
Someone who is emotionally intelligent.
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
But
it's important.
Literally up until a few years ago, I used to always say, like, I'm not book smart, but I'm street smart. And I did not realize what I was trying to say was I am emotionally intelligent. I am not IQ smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't know there was a difference.
Uh-huh.
And it's like now that I've watched a few TED Talks on it about the importance of emotional intelligence and why it's more important than IQ. And I'm like, holy shit. I have had some conversations with people who are IQ smart, but not very emotionally intelligent. And it is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, emotional intelligence and being able to like hold space for yourself, hold space for other people.
Yeah.
Again, going back to, no, don't cry. Oh, no, don't be mad. Don't be
feel
mad.
sad.
Don't feel sad.
Don't feel angry.
Where it's like, no. Like,
you shouldn't feel mad.
Yeah. An emotionally intelligent person is going to be able to hold space for all of those things because they're comfortable with their own expression of emotions.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I used to, not too long ago, get very upset with my husband because he could not hold space for my emotions. And it was because he wasn't able to hold space for his.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard that word? Like, if you are with someone who's emotionally unavailable, it's not because they're emotionally unavailable to you. It's because they are unemotionally available to themselves.
Uh-huh.
They do not know how to hold space and express their emotions. So they don't. And so when someone else does, it makes them very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I've dated a lot of men who struggled if I felt sad about something, if I was angry about something, but they missed out because Tony allows me to have those feelings, and because I'm allowed to feel the depths of sadness and grief and frustration and anger, also on the other end, there's deep love, there's deep peace, there's happiness. Like, I feel this and I also get to feel this.
Mm-hmm.
And both are necessary and important.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that one. Emotionally intelligent.
I do too. Okay. Here's another one. Who is someone that you feel comfortable with? You went camping with them, or you're out in the woods or in the forest or whatever, and you would be okay with that person for a week or two?
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
Let me tell you why. There are people that I have vacationed with, but then I retreat back to my little room to take a little break from peopling with the people.
Yeah.
And I also am like, okay, that was a lot. I come home and I want to decompress. I want to take another vacation from the people I just vacationed with. So I think it would need to be someone that like you can vacation with for 2 weeks without wanting the breaks. and without feeling like you have to
Yeah,
vacation after vacation.
You're really right, because there have been trips I've gone on where I'm like, oh my god, this person is exhausting.
Yes,
and you get
or
home
the
and you're
energies
like,
just don't match up.
Yeah, they just don't align, and that's okay. It's not, but it's almost like, well, it's vacation. It's like we're hanging out, you know, in the past, drinking, doing this, whatever, and then you go back to your room. I guess what I mean is,
I have a thought.
okay,
Someone you can be with for 2 weeks without your mask on.
ooh, so
Because
good.
those kind of vacations are very different, where you feel seen, fully seen by the people that you're surrounding yourself with. So that's why I'm like that. When you showed me that question, I was like,
We can elaborate.
and that's why I think it's important to elaborate. Like, going on vacation with someone, with a family member, or like you guys have been friends for a long time, like that's very different than going on vacation with someone where you can fully unmask
Yeah.
and be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to put the mask on for anybody.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
There's a difference.
Absolutely.
So what if it's like who you can who you can put your mask away with for 2 weeks?
Yes, put your mask away with 2 weeks. I love that. I love that, because that is so true, because, you know, like, again, using you as an example, I feel like I can be myself.
Be your weird baddie self.
But like, yes, you see goofy, you see silly, you see funny,
Yeah.
but also you see deep, and you see, you know, strong emotions that I feel, and darkness that I feel.
Like,
you
y'all
see
think
all of it, and
we're
it's okay.
weird now. You should hear us when the mics aren't on.
I know.
Like, we have
Oh
some
my
weird
God.
fucking conversation.
Yeah, I literally did MDMA, and I was talking the whole time, and this past weekend, and I out loud, I'm like, oh my fucking God, I sound so fucking weird right now. And I knew that, but again, the person who I was with, it was okay. It was okay.
The thoughts that are coming out.
I'm like, I'm speaking my thoughts, and I don't know how okay they are. They sound fucking weird. 2 years ago, I'd been like, oh, weirdo.
And now you embrace your weird.
Exactly.
So,
I'm like,
yeah, a vacation with someone who is okay with you being your fucking weird self.
okay, and I'm just gonna say why. I was doing MDMA, and I was outside, and there was a moth. A beautiful moth. And you have a thing with moths.
I do.
I never had a thing with moths.
You didn't understand my thing with moths.
You know what? I probably didn't have a thing with moths because I didn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't, and maybe I wasn't ready to notice.
Exactly. The teacher comes when the student is ready.
And so this moth comes and sits like literally right next to me, and I'm like, "Hi, Dad. That must be my dad." And I was like, "It's my dad, or Tony, it's your mom or your dad." And I was like, "You know, which one is it?" And I'm like, if I were saying that to some random fucking dude, chick, whatever, they'd be like, mental health hospital. I'm gonna need to,
Christine.
I'm gonna need to send her in. Yeah,
It's a moth.
where he was like, "Oh yeah, maybe." I bet, because I bet it's your dad. Because I was talking about family things.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God, it's my dad holding space for me while I'm talking about it.
I don't think that's weird at all.
Thanks, Moth Dad.
Well, now it's getting weird.
I love our relationship now.
Now every time you see you, hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
Oh, shit. And if you are a new listener, Christine's dad is dead.
Not that that's funny.
No.
It's not funny at all. It's the moth. It's that I think he's a moth.
Right.
That's what's funny.
Yes. Yes.
But I really do think he's a moth. I really thought.
He probably was.
I know.
I'm not even saying he probably was. That was your dad.
It was.
That was your dad.
He was literally holding space for me. He was.
How many people can you say that to?
Exactly. My point exactly. Who can you tell that to? Where they're like, okay, I'm going to leave now. I feel uncomfortable because she needs to be medicated.
Okay, so I want to really quickly go into why I don't recommend doing solo even if you're experienced.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is exactly like the way that you and I have said, like, we'll do it solo, but there's always someone with us who understands. And I do think we're very, I don't want to say lucky or blessed, but I think it's a privilege that we have two partners who are in this space with us, because I recognize that not everybody has that, or sometimes it's like your partner that you're trying to heal from. But just sometimes having them in the area, and they also understand the medicine to know that, like, oh, she's going to need help when she's done. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to be there for them to help them. So those little things, like, make a big difference. The one time that I was, like, completely by myself in my house all alone.
You thought you were going to die.
I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
I really did. I can't imagine being in that headspace the entire time. Yeah. And feeling like I have no one to reach out to and no one to support. So I feel like at the very least, have someone know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, again, I'm gonna reiterate, and I'm gonna say this again. I don't recommend doing it solo. Yeah. 100% by yourself. I really don't. But if you are going to be that person, at the very least, have someone on standby.
Can we also talk about, just in case if you need it, Fireside Project?
Absolutely.
Okay. What are they?
The Fireside Project is a nonprofit, free organization who offers support 24/7 to anyone who is experiencing a challenging psychedelic experience.
And you can text or call them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And isn't the number literally just Fireside Project?
Is that what you were trying to do and you couldn't get into my phone?
Literally.
Okay.
Because I was trying to find the number.
The Fireside Project.
I think it's literally Fireside Project. Or it's Fireside. It's something.
Yeah. It's a psychedelic support line that provides emotional support during and after. You call or text 62-FIRESIDE.
Okay. 62-FIRESIDE. I was like, I knew it had something with Fireside.
And I was wrong. They used to be 24 hours. Now it says open every day 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay, that's still pretty good.
So you can call or text someone. Oh, I really like their whole website. They've changed, and that's okay.
They've evolved, and we love it.
This literally on their website front page, don't go solo.
I love that.
Do not journey at a moderate to high dose without a sober friend nearby who can provide a supportive, grounding presence.
God, we're so good. Look at us.
Just what we said.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not me.
Not me. On that
note, I really think, listen, again, we are not meant to do life solo. We're not. So at the very least, have a little bit of support. Have a trip sitter with you who knows what they're doing. If it can't be a guide, have a sitter. Yeah. If it can't be a sitter, have a friend who checks as many of those boxes.
Yeah. And if you thought this episode was beneficial to you, or it could be beneficial to someone you know who is interested in the space, send it to them, please. Because I feel like this is very informative.
Yes, for sure.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Close this out.
All of our listeners, hope you're being safe. Be open. Stay curious. We'll see you on the other side.
Bye.
It's always different.